Claire Rowan felt her lungs expand fully for the first time in months as the Swiss Alps rose around her like ancient guardians. After spending a full year working in Tokyo as a logistics coordinator for a multinational pharmaceutical company, she craved silence more than anything luxury could buy. Tokyo had been exciting, fast, and unforgiving. Midnight conference calls, 12-hour days, and emails from 3 continents had drained her energy until she felt hollow. Her grandmother had once told her, "Buy something that gives your soul room to breathe," and Claire had listened. She purchased a small wooden cabin outside Aspen, 2 acres of quiet wilderness, golden aspens in autumn, snow-cloaked branches in winter. It had always been her retreat. Now, after a grueling year, she wanted 2 weeks of peace. No deadlines, no family obligations, no drama. She pictured herself curled beside the fireplace with novels she never had time to finish, hiking trails that wound through soft green pines, and sipping simple meals while watching the sun paint the mountain peaks pink and gold. But as she drove the last winding stretch toward her property, something shifted inside her, a prickle of warning she could not name. The gravel road leading to her cabin was familiar, comforting, until she saw the gate hanging open. Claire frowned, slowing the rental car. She always locked that gate. Always. She had the only key, tucked inside her passport holder in Tokyo the entire year. Her pulse quickened. "Maybe the wind," she whispered, though she knew the wind did not pick locks. And certainly not bears, though the elevation meant wildlife wandered freely. But the moment she rounded the final bend, her stomach plummeted. A sleek silver SUV sat confidently in her driveway, its polished body gleaming beneath the afternoon sun. A vehicle Claire recognized instantly. She had helped make its down payment for her younger sister, Maya, 2 years ago after Maya's 3rd failed business venture. Claire parked beside it, gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles whitened. She hadn't spoken to Maya in almost 4 months, not since their last call ended with Claire firmly refusing another temporary loan. Maya had called her selfish. Claire had called it enough. The cabin itself looked wrong, too lived in, too touched. Flower boxes she never planted were filled with fresh geraniums. A new welcome mat awaited her. Her sanctuary wasn't waiting. Someone was inside it. Claire stepped onto the porch, each movement slow, controlled, as if she feared the wrong breath would make the situation real. She raised her key to unlock the door, but before the metal even touched the lock, the door swung open. Maya stood there smiling, wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweater Claire had never seen. She held one of Claire's favorite mugs, white ceramic with mountain silhouettes painted around the rim. "Claire, you're early," Maya chirped as though this were normal. "I thought you weren't coming until June." She stepped aside, inviting Claire into her own cabin. Claire entered stiffly, her body moving while her mind tried to understand. The living room was mostly the same sofa, same stone fireplace, but new throw blankets, new magazines, and new framed photos decorated the mantel. Photos of Maya with strangers. "Maya," Claire said slowly, "what are you doing here?" Maya waved it off. "It's complicated. The condo got messy, so I came here. You were abroad. It seemed silly for the cabin to sit empty." Claire stared. "So you moved in?" "Only temporarily," Maya said brightly. "You don't mind, right? I've been taking such good care of the place." Before Claire could respond, Maya bounced toward the kitchen with unsettling enthusiasm. "Actually, I'm so glad you're here. I did a little project." The kitchen was outdated, badly outdated, so I renovated it. She pushed the door open and grinned. Claire froze. Her warm pine cabinets, the ones she had painstakingly sanded and stained by hand, were gone. Replaced by stark white modern panels that looked like they belonged in a high-rise apartment. Her butcher block counters were replaced by cold gray quartz. Her farmhouse sink replaced by a sleek steel basin. Even the hand-painted tiles she bought in Lisbon were gone, swapped for plain white subway tiles. "Isn't it gorgeous?" Maya asked, running her hand along the quartz. It was only $55,000. A total steal. The contractor even gave me a discount because he used photos for his portfolio. Claire blinked. $55,000, she repeated, her voice cracking. "Where did you get $55,000? Maya waved a dismissive hand. "Don't stress. I used your credit cards." "You can afford it, Claire. You're practically rich." Claire's breath left her. "You used my credit cards?" "Maya, those were in my desk." Maya shrugged, turning to the coffee machine, Another gleaming appliance Claire had never seen.
I needed them. And the kitchen really needed help. That old sink was depressing.
And I figured with your salary and Tokyo covered your housing, you wouldn't even miss the money. Claire gripped the back of a bar stool, steadying herself. How did you get my card information? Maya didn't even look guilty. You left paperwork in your desk last time I visited. I just wrote the numbers down in case of emergencies.
Claire stared. This isn't an emergency, she said quietly.
This is theft. Maya crossed her arms, instantly defensive. I've been maintaining the place, keeping it warm, keeping the pipes from freezing.
You should be thanking me.
And honestly, Grandma left money for both of us.
You just got more. This cabin should be shared.
A familiar guilt pricked at Claire's chest, but underneath, something colder formed. Something firm and unshakable.
She inhaled sharply.
Maya, she said, you need to leave.
Maya's smile vanished. Leave? Claire, don't be dramatic. I've been living here for 5 months. 5. You can't just kick me out. Claire stiffened.
5 months.
Maya nodded stiffly. Of course. You weren't using it. And I couldn't afford the condo anymore.
So this was the only option. You moved in the moment I left for Tokyo, Claire whispered. Yes, because I needed a place to live. What was I supposed to do? Be homeless? Maya's voice rose into a familiar wounded whine. You've always had everything, Claire. The good grades, the nice job, Grandma's praise. The least you can do is share. Claire stared at her, realizing something. Maya wasn't listening.
She wasn't understanding. She wasn't regretting anything. She felt entitled. Completely entitled. Pack your things, Claire said. You have 2 hours.
I want you gone.
Maya's face twisted. You can't do this.
I have tenant rights. You're not a tenant, Claire said coldly. You're a squatter who committed credit card fraud. Maya followed Claire down the hallway, still protesting, but Claire ignored her.
She needed to see the rest. She needed to understand the scope of the violation. The master bedroom hit her like a punch.
Maya's expensive clothes filled Claire's cedar closet. The bed was dressed in a designer duvet Claire had never seen. Her nightstand drawers were crammed with skincare products, hair tools, and receipts. The second bedroom, Claire's office, was worse. Boxes from Maya's failed jewelry business covered the floor. Her desk drawers, once neatly organized, held credit card statements that Claire knew should have been mailed to Tokyo. Receipts from boutiques, spas, restaurants, electronic stores, a hot tub installation invoice Claire hadn't even discovered yet. Maya, Claire whispered, lifting a receipt, you spent more than $90,000.
It's not that bad, Maya insisted weakly. I was going to pay you back. Eventually.
When my online store launches.
Claire turned. That's your 5th business plan.
Or 6th. I've lost count. Maya looked away. I just needed help. Claire gathered the statements, her hands trembling but steady enough to hold the evidence of her sister's betrayal. I'm going into town, she said, her voice firm. When I get back in 3 hours, you'll be gone. Every single thing you brought here must be gone. If I find so much as a toothbrush, I will include it in the police report I'm filing.
Maya's eyes widened.
Police report.
For fraud. Identity theft.
Unauthorized entry.
Maya's voice cracked. Claire, please. You're overreacting.
We're family. Families don't do this to each other.
Claire paused at the door.
You stopped acting like my sister the moment you stole from me.
Maya ran after her.
Where are you going?
Claire opened the door. To talk to a lawyer. And to the bank.
And then to the police.
She met Maya's panicked stare. Don't test me, Maya.
I'm done protecting you. She left the cabin, slamming the door behind her. For the first time in her life, Claire didn't look back. Claire drove too fast down the mountain road, the pines blurring past her. Aspen bustled with early-season tourists, but she barely saw them. She marched into the first law office she found, and within minutes was seated across from Ava Collins, a sharp-eyed attorney who listened without interrupting. When Claire finished recounting everything, every receipt, every forged charge, every boundary violated, Ava folded her hands. Claire, this is felony-level fraud, she said. Identity theft. Unauthorized entry. Credit card abuse. You have enough evidence to press charges. Claire swallowed hard. She's my sister. And she stole nearly $100,000 from you. Ava's voice softened, but remained firm. Family pressure will come. I need to know if you're prepared for that. I've been preparing for it my whole life, Claire whispered. Ava nodded. Then step 1, documentation.
Do you have security cameras? Claire blinked. She had forgotten. Yes. They upload to the cloud.
Good. Step 2, freeze your accounts. Step 3, police report. And Claire?
Ava met her eyes. This is not your fault. The next hours blurred.
At the bank, a manager named Jenna helped Claire freeze her cards, flag suspicious charges, and begin the fraud dispute process. The official total, $93,472 in unauthorized spending.
Jenna touched Claire's hand gently. I know this is painful, she said.
But you're doing the right thing. People who commit this kind of family fraud count on victims staying silent. At the police station, Detective Hale reviewed the footage Claire had downloaded, Maya photographing Claire's credit cards, rifling through her desk, forging documents.
His mouth tightened.
This is clear premeditation, he said. We'll take this to the district attorney. Expect multiple felony charges.
Claire felt numb.
How long before she's arrested?
Soon, Hale said.
Very soon. Back at the cabin, Maya was gone, but spite lingered like a stain.
Half the dishes stolen. Appliances missing.
Bedding stripped. Personal documents removed, including Claire's birth certificate and tax returns. On the bathroom mirror, in smeared red lipstick, Maya had left a message, "You always were selfish." Claire scrubbed the mirror until her reflection returned, angry, exhausted, and ready to fight. Claire blocked Maya's frantic text messages without hesitation, then dialed Ava Collins. She took my documents, Claire said the moment Ava answered. Birth certificate, tax records, everything.
Ava inhaled sharply.
File an additional police report tonight. And freeze your credit with all bureaus immediately. Her tone remained calm, but firm.
Claire, this is escalating.
People who feel cornered often lash out.
Keep your doors locked. Keep the security cameras running.
And don't respond to your sister. After the call, Claire spent 2 hours cataloging every missing item, photographing each empty space in the cabin like evidence from a crime scene.
Then she accessed the archive camera footage. The recordings stabbed deeper than she expected.
There was Maya entering 3 days after Claire left for Tokyo, using a key she had secretly copied. Maya laughing with contractors in Claire's kitchen, pointing dramatically while the man with a clipboard wrote notes. But the worst came from the office camera, Maya opening Claire's desk drawer, pulling out documents, photographing both sides of every credit card with slow, calculated precision. It wasn't confusion.
It wasn't panic. It was deliberate.
Claire backed up every file, sent copies to Ava, and finally collapsed onto her sofa, feeling something inside her harden permanently. The next morning, Claire woke to 12 missed calls from Mom. Voicemails ranged from pleading to furious. "Claire, please call me back. Maya is devastated. She said you threw her out like trash." Another message said, "She renovated your kitchen for you. You should be grateful. Then, your father would be ashamed of this behavior. And finally, if you go through with this, do not come home for Christmas." Claire listened to each one until her chest ached, then saved them all. They were evidence of the emotional pressure Ava warned her about. At 9 a.m., she returned to the bank. Jenna helped her complete the credit freeze process. "The investigation will take weeks," she warned. "In the meantime, the charges still exist on your account."
Claire nodded numbly.
At the police station, Detective Hale reviewed the footage and recorded statements. "With this evidence," he said, "the district attorney will likely approve charges quickly. Multiple felonies."
He hesitated.
"But I need to ask, have you checked your older credit reports?
Fraud of this scale rarely starts here."
The question chilled Claire. She spent the afternoon at a cafe with her laptop, pulling 3 years' worth of credit history. What she found twisted her stomach: 3 credit cards she had never opened, all maxed out, plus a personal loan from 2 years ago. The total damage soared past $130,000. Shaking, Claire called Ava Collins again. The attorney listened, silent but deadly focused. "Claire," she said finally, "this changes the case. This was not a moment of desperation. This was a pattern, a long-term exploitation of your identity." Claire pressed her fingers to her forehead. "She doesn't have money, Ava. What's the point of suing her?
2 points, Ava replied crisply. 1. A civil judgment never expires.
If she ever earns anything, it becomes yours.
2. It protects you.
Without formal records, she could claim you loaned her the money willingly.
Claire exhaled shakily. Okay. Do it. The next few hours blurred into endless phone calls. Banks. Fraud departments.
Identity theft bureaus.
Some representatives sounded sympathetic.
Others treated her with suspicion. By the time the sun dipped behind the mountains, Claire had spoken to more strangers in one day than she had in the past month. When she turned her phone back on, messages waited like a wall of obligations.
11 more from Mom. 5 frantic ones from Maya.
3 from an aunt demanding Claire stop airing family shame. Only one message made Claire breathe, Riley, her best friend from graduate school.
I'm coming to you. You should not be alone. Claire replied with trembling fingers. Okay. Please.
2 days later, Riley arrived at the cabin with 2 suitcases, a bag of groceries, and enough determination to rebuild a small nation. Right, she said, dropping everything on the floor. I'm here to feed you, stabilize you, and make sure you don't accidentally strangle a relative. Also, I brought whiskey. Claire felt something crack and release, her first real laugh in days. That night, they organized paperwork at the dining table.
This is a project, Riley declared. And what do we do with overwhelming projects? Break them into tasks. She typed notes like a commander preparing a battlefield.
1. Secure every account.
2. Replace your documents. 3. Repair the cabin. 4. Prepare for the criminal case.
5. Prepare for the civil case. 6. Emotional survival.
Claire raised an eyebrow.
Emotional survival.
Riley nodded.
Because your family is about to behave like a circus.
Claire opened her mouth to argue, when her phone buzzed again.
Mom. Another voicemail. You're destroying this family.
Claire didn't play it.
She handed the phone to Riley, who simply turned it off and placed it face down.
You're not doing that tonight.
They poured whiskey, sat by the fire, and Riley squeezed Claire's hand gently.
You're not alone, she whispered.
You're finally doing what you should have done years ago. The next morning, Claire and Riley drove into town to meet contractors. The white cabinets Maya installed were already peeling.
The cheap hinges sagged.
The quartz countertops, though decent, clashed violently with the rustic design of the home. We can rebuild the original style, said James, the contractor Claire hired.
Custom pine cabinets. New farmhouse sink. Vintage-style fixtures. About $30,000.
Claire flinched at the number, but nodded. Do it. James gave her a sympathetic smile. We'll make it yours again. While they were still in town, Claire's phone rang.
Detective Hale.
Claire, he said, the district attorney is filing charges. We'll arrest your sister within 48 hours.
You should prepare yourself.
Claire leaned against the car, feeling her pulse race. It wasn't disbelief she felt, it was finality. What do I need to do?
Just stay safe. Keep your security updated.
And don't be surprised if your sister contacts you again. Riley touched Claire's shoulder.
Hotel? She asked softly. Claire shook her head. No. This is my home.
I won't leave because of her. Riley smiled. Then we upgrade your locks. That afternoon, they installed reinforced deadbolts and updated the cabin's security system. As the locksmith worked, Claire finally called Mom. The conversation was worse than she imagined.
Her mother answered immediately. Claire. Finally.
Please tell me you're fixing this.
Claire inhaled slowly.
Mom, Maya stole over $130,000 from me.
This isn't a misunderstanding.
It's a crime.
Her mother's breath hitched sharply. She told me she only used the cards for the kitchen.
You have money. Why are you being so cruel?
Claire closed her eyes. It wasn't just the kitchen. She opened accounts in my name. Took loans. Lived here without permission. Forged my signature.
This wasn't one mistake. This was years.
Silence.
Then her mom whispered, You're choosing money over your sister.
No, Claire said, voice firm.
I'm choosing boundaries over enabling.
Her mother cracked.
She's being arrested, Claire.
Arrested?
Do you understand what you're doing? Claire steadied her voice. She did this, Mom.
Not me. You could stop it. No, I can't.
Identity theft is prosecuted by the state.
Claire exhaled slowly. I love you.
But if you can't support me, then we have nothing to talk about right now.
Her mother's voice turned cold.
I don't know who you are anymore.
Claire swallowed.
Maybe you only knew the version of me who sacrificed herself to keep the peace.
She hung up.
Riley didn't speak. She just wrapped Claire in a quiet, grounding hug. 2 mornings later, Claire received the call. We have arrested Maya Rowan, Detective Hale said.
She was taken into custody at her boyfriend's apartment.
No resistance.
Claire sat down slowly on the nearest chair. Thank you, she whispered.
Hale continued. She had your passport, birth certificate, tax documents, and 3 more credit cards she hadn't used yet.
Claire's stomach twisted violently.
She was going to continue. Yes, Hale confirmed. This helps strengthen our case. After he hung up, Claire sat in silence until Riley touched her arm. You okay?
Claire nodded. I want to go to the arraignment.
I need to see this. Riley simply said. Then we'll go. The next day, they drove to Boulder. The courthouse felt cold and formal, the fluorescent lights buzzing faintly overhead. The room filled slowly, lawyers, clerks, strangers. Then Maya was led in wearing an orange jumpsuit, wrists cuffed.
She looked smaller. Her eyes were red. Her hair limp.
The moment she saw Claire, her face twisted, shock, then betrayal, then hatred. She whispered something to her public defender, who ignored her. As the charges were read, identity theft, fraud, forgery, Maya's breathing quickened. Bail was set at $75,000. Maya glanced at Claire again, lips forming the word, please.
Claire looked away.
Outside the courthouse, Claire's phone rang again, Mom.
She declined.
Immediately, a text arrived. I saw you there.
How could you watch your sister be humiliated like that? Claire exhaled shakily and walked to the car.
Don't answer, Riley advised quietly. Back at the cabin, they found a letter taped to the door, Maya's handwriting. Riley insisted Claire read it for evidence. The letter was 4 desperate, rambling pages. Maya claimed Claire ruined her life. That she used the credit cards to help the cabin. That she only took documents to feel safe. She insisted Claire lived a life of luxury while she struggled.
She blamed Claire for the arrest.
She claimed she would never forgive her.
Claire handed the letter to Riley, whose jaw clenched.
She genuinely believes this, Riley said.
Claire nodded tiredly.
She always rewrites reality so she's the victim. 3 weeks later at the preliminary hearing, even more evidence surfaced. Forged signatures, fake deeds Maya created, financial records proving a long-term scheme.
Claire testified.
She described the betrayal in plain, unembellished truth. Maya's attorney tried to blame stress, mental health, desperation. But the evidence was undeniable. The judge denied bail reduction and set the trial date. Outside the courtroom, Claire ran into her mother, exhausted, aged, grief-stricken.
Are you happy now? Her mother asked, her voice raw.
Is this what you wanted?
Claire held her ground.
I wanted my sister not to steal from me, she said. I wanted my family to support me instead of enabling her. Her mother shook her head, tears spilling freely. She's going to prison. Because she committed crimes, Claire said gently. I didn't make this happen. She did. I don't know you anymore, her mother whispered.
Claire swallowed.
Maybe I'm finally showing you who I really am.
She walked away.
Over the next weeks, Claire focused on rebuilding. The credit card companies reversed most charges when the criminal case gained momentum. The fraudulent loan was cleared from her record. Her credit score slowly rose. Ava filed a civil suit seeking full restitution. She may never pay, Ava warned. But the judgment matters. Meanwhile, the cabin began returning to life. Fresh pine cabinets replaced the cheap white ones. James restored the kitchen to near-original beauty. Riley returned to Portland but called every other day. Aunt Helen visited with homemade soup and fierce support. Some cousins reached out quietly to say they believed Claire. Others cut her off entirely. Claire learned to live with being the villain in some people's stories, and the hero in her own. The trial lasted 3 long, draining days. Prosecutor Lynn presented each piece of evidence with precision. The camera footage, forged contracts, fake documents, fraudulent accounts, the long-term pattern of theft. Claire testified again, this time in front of a jury. She described the emotional toll, The fear, the betrayal, the violation of trust. Maya testified too, crying, apologizing, but every apology shifted blame.
I was desperate, she said.
Claire never helps me. But Prosecutor Lynn's cross-examination cut through every excuse. You forged her signature. You opened accounts in her name.
You stole her documents. You spent her money for years.
Is that desperation or entitlement?
By the end, even Maya's attorney stopped objecting. The jury took less than 4 hours.
Guilty on all counts. At sentencing 2 weeks later, Claire read her victim impact statement, facing Maya directly. She spoke calmly about the years of enabling, the repeated betrayals, the emotional damage worse than the financial loss. The judge sentenced Maya to 6 years in state prison, plus 5 years probation and full restitution. As Maya was led away, she looked at Claire with hollow anger, but Claire felt only relief. Outside, Riley hugged her.
It's over, she whispered.
And for the first time in months, Claire believed her. In the weeks after the sentencing, Claire returned to her mountain cabin and allowed herself to breathe in ways she hadn't in years. The pine cabinets gleamed softly, the air smelled like wood smoke, and the silence felt like medicine. There were still loose ends, court paperwork, credit monitoring, the civil judgment, but the storm had finally passed. Some relatives still refused to speak to her, but the people who mattered stayed close. Riley visited again, Aunt Helen checked on her often, and even Detective Hale sent her an update saying the restitution process had begun. Claire realized something unexpected. She didn't hate Maya.
She didn't wish her pain. She simply wished her accountability.
And now, for the first time, Maya finally had to face her own choices. Claire stepped onto the porch one evening, watching the sun sink behind the mountains in soft gold. She wrapped her arms around herself and whispered, "This is my life now. Mine." Months later, as snow settled softly across the cabin roof, Claire felt the peace she once feared she'd never find again. She rebuilt her credit, strengthened her boundaries, and reclaimed the home her grandmother intended to be her sanctuary. She didn't hear from her mother, but she learned to accept the silence as another kind of clarity. Healing wasn't quick, but it was steady. One morning, sipping hot tea by the window, Claire realized something simple and powerful. She survived. Not by hurting anyone, not by seeking revenge, but by refusing to be hurt anymore. In the end, her strength, not anger, was what saved her. And as the winter sunlight filled her cabin, she finally felt rooted, whole, and entirely free.